GHB 2025-2026 for Kruleboyz. We've all seen what the GHB is. Let's take a look at what it means. But first, I'd like to, of course, thank all my patrons. Thanks to Iberian for the channel art. And Baron of Dice. Use code MDG. Save 5% off your order. Why not? Okay, so we're not going to go through everything that has come up in the GHB. We're only going to go through some of the things that I think are going to affect Kruleboyz specifically. For example, we're not going to cover how the double turn has worked and changed, because I think it's going to affect all the armies, and it's not going to have any particular relevance for Kruleboyz. So first, let's check out Warscrolls and our army rules. So we did very well compared to other armies. I've seen other people do podcasts and YouTube videos, and I consistently see people ranking Kruleboyz higher than lots of other armies. Maybe not the best, but better than most. I'd say that we're comfortably in the top third of soggy updates insofar as their power. Both of our Warscrolls are good. Scumdrek, good. Gnashtooth, good. We can debate about whether or not they're going to be auto-includes enlist. We can debate how good they are, but I think the general consensus is that Swamp Horde Bullies is good, that Scumdrek is good, our monstrous actions are good, that pretty much everything that we actually got in this update is good. So that's better than most. Also, Scumdrek and Swamp Horde Bullies added damage, which is something that this army was needing. We said over and over and over again that, like, that's really what we didn't have, was that we really just lacked damage. So we got it, and that's really important. There's other things that our army is missing, right? Like, I think that we're still kind of missing some mobility, but, you know, like, it is, like, we definitely took steps in the right direction. So that's looking really good for Kruleboyz. Some changes to command points. So we know that all-out attack got a nerf, essentially, that when you use all-out attack, you get -1 to your save for the rest of the turn. So this is probably going to hurt lots of destruction armies, or any army that generally has a 4-up to hit. So Iron Jaws is a perfect example. I think that everything in Iron Jaws hits on a 4. So the fact that they lose that all-out attack sort of like default buff is going to matter. It's going to matter to them quite a bit. But not to Kruleboyz. We deal mortal wounds. We don't care about all-out attack. Nerf all-out attack into the ground, and the Swamp Yorks will just be laughing in the shadows. We do not care. Nerf away. Also, we got the Mavine monstrous action, and Mavine just adds 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with this unit's companion weapons. So the Breakaboss is sort of immune to this. The Breakaboss is the only unit that we would have really used all-out attack on. But now, I mean, it's still a debate between Sneakian and Mavine, but I think that with the all-out attack change, Mavine gets a little bit more props because you kind of lose access to all-out attack, right? Because again, the Breakaboss having a 4-up save means that getting -1 to attacks is not great. Also, this is something that I was thinking about earlier today, but because all-out attack has a -1 to save for the rest of the turn, it means what you want to use all-out attack on is going to be the last unit that you're fighting with. You sort of negate the penalty. So let's say that you have a unit that has strike last. Well, that's going to be the unit that you're going to use all-out attack on. And Kruleboyz gives strike last. If things are working well for us, we're ganging up multiple units on an enemy unit, and all of us are getting to fight before they get to fight. So, yeah, Mavine is just helping solve that problem, where we, even when we would want to use all-out attack, we don't have to. Because all-out attack is going to be used less often, it has more of a cost. That -1 to hit from Gut Rip is more annoying than it was before. And, right, it's like, well, you're getting -1 to hit, and your opponent's not going to be like, well, I'll just use all-out attack to negate that. It's like, well, are you sure? You know, because, like, you can, but then don't forget, you get -1 to your save for the other things that are coming in at you later, specifically Breakaboss, Monster Killers, Probably not even so much monster killers because they also, you know, deal crit mortals, but against, yeah, I mean, we deal mortal wounds, so it's not, I guess, a huge deal, but that -1 to hit is really annoying. Your opponent's going to have to think twice before they use all-out attack. And Strike Last now synergizes with all-out attack, so, and that's what I was saying before, but if you have Strike Last, you're more likely to use all-out attack, so. And all-out defense also got changed. All-out defense, you now have to pick like a unit to get all-out defense against. It's not just like a blanket everybody gets, or that unit gets +1 to their save against everything for the rest of that turn, or the rest of that phase. But Kruleboyz have the Shaman's Foul Elixir and Mork's Cunning spell, so we have a way of giving +2 to save without having to solid attack for the turn against everything. So those are better relatively, so that's pretty good. 2 thumbs up. All out attack and all out defense changes, fine, no problem. The boys don't care. There's been a change to obscuring as a terrain rule, as well as places of power, so just briefly to go over them. While every model in a non-monster unit, non-monster being the key part, that does not have the fly keyword is within 1 inch of this terrain feature, the following applies. The unit is only visible to enemy units that are within its combat range, so they're not visible at range, for spells, and for shooting. And the range characteristic of that unit's ranged weapon is halved, rounded down to the nearest inch. So, yeah, that's what that is. And then activating places of power, what you can do essentially, we no longer have the +1 to cast. It's no longer part of a place of power. We still have a non-wizard can unbind or banish manifestation as if it was a wizard. There's also one of the 3 options that you choose with a place of power is like a healing one. Again, that's not really what we're doing. This video is going over like what these things are. I'm assuming everyone knows what these things are at this point. And there's also one that makes other terrain features or objectives obscuring on a 3-up, right? So, and I also like went through the maps, and there's a lot of already obscuring terrain, and there's a lot of places of power. So there's going to be a ton of obscuring all over the place. Okay, so we lose the +1 to cast. Well, everyone loses the +1 to cast, but we have the Gorkrora. So while everyone else doesn't get like a built-in +1, we still have +1 or +2 if we want. That's pretty good. Other people's spell consistency go down. Ours does not, or does so less. Our Scare Grub Totem can be obscuring. That's pretty cool. We just want somebody to sit in the Scare Grub Totem, so give it obscuring. Now, you can't shoot at it. We're a little bit safer. That's pretty good. This is going to be good for anybody that has faction terrain that is, like, what's the word that you would use? That you could have a unit in it. For some reason, the word is escaping me. But that's fine. Shooting is generally nerfed, right? It's like lots of units are going to be able just to sit in this obscuring terrain or on those obscuring objectives. Your shooting is going to be much, much weaker. Bolt Boys weren't in fashion, so we don't really care. We weren't at the end of the GHB. People were, you did see the odd unit of Bolt Boys, but we weren't relying on them like we were in 3rd. Bolt Boys weren't fashionable. They just weren't in fashion, so that's okay. We're not KO. Who cares? We don't have long strikes. Not a big deal. We don't care. It's good for us. Also, the kill bow shoots monsters, which cannot be obscured. So that's pretty awesome, right? That's pretty awesome. Also, all-out attack is fine with the kill bow. The way that the kill bow works, here's something you can do with the kill bow. You can sit it on obscuring terrain. Sure, it just sits there. You can't see it. It has a much shorter shooting range. It has a 12-inch shooting range if it's obscured. Cool. Then a monster kind of comes within range. Awesome. You move it out of obscuring and shoot. If you move it, it loses that +1 to hit. So now it's hitting on 4s, but you can also use all-out attack on it, right? All-out attack is only going to be used on shooting, and because we're shooting at a monster, monsters can't be obscured. So the primary target of our kill bow is immune to this keyword or this status effect that obscuring is giving. So the kill bow is still going to be a very solid shooting piece. And if all of our opponents aren't bringing shooting, I have a feeling that's what's going to end up happening, is most lists are just not going to include shooting, right? Things like this obscuring rule, the way that they affect metas isn't that people aren't going to be able to shoot you, but it is that people just don't bring shooting in their lists, right? So there's going to be a significant reduction in the amount of shooting that people bring. Bring 2 kill bows, shoot monsters off the table, right? Like, everyone's got these new monstrous actions or these new monstrous traits. Awesome. 2 kill bows, right? Suck it. I'm targeting something that can't, like, it's good. And also when we use sneaky sneakin', we can also just be obscured a lot. We can land on terrain pieces that are obscured. So that's just a nice little bonus. No more like sneaky sneakin' and then you get shot off the table or spells cast at you. Right now you can sneak and then be obscured. So it adds a little bit of a buff to that. Battle plans. So the underdog mechanics are quite strong in lots of these maps. So you have to be very careful when doubling. Or yeah, if you're gonna let your opponent be the underdog for the entire game, it can be quite scary. So be careful with that. Try, I think having low drops is going to be even more important, because if you go second, you can play for the tactics. I don't want to talk about these too much because I have to play about 10 games, right? I got to get in there and I got to roll up my sleeves. I'll have lots of time off here coming up shortly, so I'll get lots of games in. I play in a GT, the only one I play in every year at the end of August, so I get lots of games in the summer. So, but I just thought it was, four of them are half and half, like where it's like you and your opponent split the map in half. 3 are a quarter and a quarter. It's like that first like 13 inches, I think, is your zone, and your opponent has the other like quarter. And 5 are roughly half neutral territory in different arrangements. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're thinking about your battle tactics, right? So lots of these tactics have words that say like, oh, you have to control things that are wholly within enemy territory. So keep that in mind. So like I just said, the way that tactics are going to work, I'm not entirely sure how it's going to play out. I think it's complicated. I think that right now, when we get points for Scourge of Gyran, I think that it's almost more important to pick out your battle tactics before you write your list. I think knowing which of the tactics you're going to take is going to affect list construction a lot. If you write a list and then look at tactics, you might very well have to go back and re-pick tactics or re-change your list. So they're going to be, I think, essential. So on one hand, you want to score all of your points in the first 3 rounds, because a lot of tournament games, this is for more competitive players, generally don't go past like round 3, round 4. It's hard to play all 5 rounds in a 3-hour game, especially if you're relatively new to the scene. So getting ahead on points can be good, but you also want to be very careful. On the other hand, if you score all your points early, your opponent will be the underdog, and they'll get to use some pretty powerful abilities. So depending on the battle plan's underdog mechanics, because they're not all the same, some are really strong and some are not, you may or may not want to score a lot of your points early. So being flexible in your battle plan or in your battle tactics seems key. But again, lots of testing needed here. I picked out a few that I thought are going to be good for Kruleboyz. I got to play games. So you tell me what you think in the comments below, which tactics you're thinking and why. So first up, I think the best one for Kruleboyz is going to be Wrathful Cycle. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control more objectives than your opponents. That one's very easy to do. That's just going to happen turn 1, turn 2, probably on turn 1, right? On turn 1, you tend to like trade some objectives back and forth with your opponent, and no problem. The second one is you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you are the underdog this battle round. So this is where going second matters, because then you can like sort of purposefully not score maybe a tactic or take primaries or something. So if you're the underdog, there is at least one friendly unit on the battlefield, and at least half of the friendly units on the battlefield, rounded up, use the fight ability this turn. This is in line with the way that Kruleboyz wants to play, where we want to gang up and bully our opponent, especially if you're taking the swamp horde bullies, where we want to have like multiple of our units in combat with the enemy units all at the same time. So this tactic, I feel, the second one, just it's what we want to be doing. We want to have a lot of our units in combat. We're not running a lot of shooting units, maybe a kill bow, or maybe probably one, maybe two if you're feeling spicy. But this is something that we want to be doing anyway, so this will be easily achieved. And then the third one, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there's a different friendly unit wholly within each large quarter of the battlefield. You control more objectives than your opponent, and there are no enemy units contesting any objectives that you control. This one, for the third one, I think is a lot easier. It does say that you can set up one of those units. So we have Sneaky Sneakin', so that's good. We have a Gnash Tooth, you know, that's good. This one, compared to some of the other ones, is going to be a lot easier to achieve. So I talked to some other folks in Discord, and I saw this one coming up quite a bit. So I think Wrathful Cycles is going to be like a pretty good choice. But again, let me know in the comments down below what you think, and join the Discord. Be part of these conversations. We'd love to hear from you. Two others that I thought are quite good are Master the Paths. This would be right now, if I had to pick two to go play a game tonight, I would choose Master the Paths and Wrathful Cycles. And I'll tell you why. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if an enemy hero has been destroyed this battle. This one is going to be a lot harder to achieve. However, I don't want to achieve this on turn 1, or probably not even turn 2. I want to try to kill a hero or have a hero. I'm okay if a hero doesn't die until turn 3, because, as I said before, when it comes to underdog mechanics, I don't want to score too many points too early in the game. I want to pace my points a little bit. I want to spread them out a little bit, right? So it's okay that it happens a little bit later in the game. The second one, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are more friendly units in neutral territory than enemy units. So you have to have more friendly units in neutral territory than enemy units. If there is no neutral territory in the battle plan you are playing, you complete this tactic at the end of your turn if there are no enemy units within friendly territory. So this one is sort of like a win more, right? It's like, I have more units than you, or I've killed a bunch of your units, but I'm hoping that Kruleboyz are pretty killy. So we, because we also have like some teleporting stuff, we can pull them and keep them in their territory, like make them turn around and come fight us behind us. This is also one where the bad mouthing baiters might come into play, but I don't think that one's worth taking. So this one's a little bit harder, but I'm finding a lot of them are really hard. And then the third one is you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if at least 3 different friendly units are each wholly within 9 inches of a different corner of the battlefield, and only one of those corners is wholly within friendly territory. No more than one of those units can have been set up this turn. So this one, Envelop and Strangle, is very similar to the third Wrathful Cycle, Master of Strategy, where you have units in all 4 quarters. This one is like in 3 of the 4 corners. So you can achieve both of these at the same time, right? At the end of the game. Seems good to me. That's why I would take these two, right? It's like, it's okay. The one that I think is the hardest to achieve is the middle one, right? Seize the Paths, the one where you have to be the underdog and have more units. I think that one's a lot harder, but the third ones in each one, again, some of these like third tier ones, they seem, I guess they're domination ones, seem to me like you're already winning, like you've kind of tabled your opponent. So it's like try to score your tactics, take the primaries, and then remove all your opponent's models from the table. Easy, right? Just roll 6s or 5s and 6s, I guess. Another one that I think is worth thinking about is Scouting Force. What this one is you all of your non-hero infantry and non-hero cavalry units. So your Gut Rippas, your Monster Killers, your Hobgrots, your Bolt Boys, right? They all become scouts. You complete this one, the first one, at the end of your turn if there are 3 or more friendly scout units wholly outside friendly territory. So this one is fine. Like I said, 4 of the 12 battle plans, you and your opponents split the map half and half. So it's easy to get out of friendly territory in these maps. It's easy to get out of friendly territory. So this is not that hard to do. Especially if you have like a Warscrolls and you're doing run and charge, you're running at your opponent, right? Like it should be relatively easy to do. The strike one is you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if 3 or more objectives or terrain features that you control, if 3 or more objectives or terrain features that you control in any combination are being contested by friendly scout units. The objectives and terrain features must be within enemy territory. This one is really hard. If we look at some of the battle plans, there's a lot of them where it, let me just pull it up. I got it right here. So remember, the key part is they have to be within enemy territory. So within enemy territory, if we just look here, so it's terrain or objectives. In any combination, you have to you have to control them, right? That you control. So you have to control 3 objectives or terrain features in any combinations within enemy territory. This battle map has 4. You have to control 3 out of 4. This battle map has 5. They're all tight in the center. You have to control 3 out of 5. This one's actually easier than most. This one has 3. You have to control all 3, right? This one has 4. You have to control all 4. This is only the second of the 3 battle tactics. This one has a lot. This one's actually really easy. This is the second one that's like manageable and reasonable. 4, 8. This one's reasonable. You could do this one. This one has 4. Good luck. You have to control 3 out of 4 of them. This one has 5. Little bit better. This one's a little bit better. If you were dominating and pushing forward, you could like take the 3 here in the middle. What happened to my music? Did I not click the buttons? This one also has a lot. So this is the third one that's like really doable. 3, 6, 8. Totally doable. This one has 4. Good luck. Controlling 3 of those. This one's actually not too bad. It has 5. That one's not too bad. This one, 3, 6. So this one's, 7. This one's actually totally doable. Ooh, actually, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I miscounted these. This one actually has a lot too. 8, 9 of them. That one's totally doable. So there's like less than half. 1, 2, 3. I'll be generous. 3, 4, 4.5, 5. Let's say 6. So about half of them, right? About half of them, you'll be able to do this, but good luck doing it early. Half of them, this is not going to be possible, right? You're not going to get past this choke point. Which is easier, do you think? Controlling 3 out of 4 objectives in your opponent's territory, or killing their units in neutral territory? I don't know. Like, I need to play 10 games. So, but overall, I think that we're in a really good position this GHB. I think that the rules are breaking our way, and I'm really excited to put some models on the table, get some games going, get some experience with this under my belt. I'm waiting for the points updates and you hear rumors that there's other stuff coming out. Like I've heard rumors, you know, that cavalry won't be able to be reinforced. I hope that's a rule. I was hoping that I can include that in this video. I was trying to find like confirmation on that. I couldn't find anything. But again, as a army that has no cavalry, it's like, yeah, nerf cavalry, make them unreinforceable. Sounds good to me. So once points come out, I'll actually be able to sit down and write some lists and like, you know, maybe actually pick some stuff. So I can't wait. Can you? Like, subscribe. Wow.